Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another video. This time I will be talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance because last Wednesday the team of Kingdom Come Deliverance presented a roadmap in the form of a picture. It's actually a visual display of all the work that they are still going to do in the upcoming year or so. So let's take a closer look to the roadmap, and this roadmap consists of 9 items. Besides the picture, not much info has been given to us, so I'm going to speculate a little bit about what this roadmap will offer, what it's supposed to be, and what can we expect out of it. If you're looking at this roadmap, which is really beautifully crafted, you can see that the game has got the same attention to detail as this roadmap does. You see the timelines, which is divided, I guess you could say, in seasons. Christmas got a special mention, and the New Year is also there, just as it would be in the time at which this game is set, which is 1403. So I really like the touch here, and it gives you a pretty decent indication of what you can expect at which time. So first let's look at the roadmap overall and see what kind of items are actually there. You can see a few things, for example the free content. Free content is always good, I would add. There are also 2 movies out there. One of them is the making of, which is I guess pretty self-explanatory. The other one though is the Battle Academy. And the Battle Academy could be specifically interesting. Last but not least, there are 4 DLCs at the top of the timeline. I think safely assume that these are paid DLCs, especially since they signify that some of the other content is free. So without further ado, let's get into these specific items. I will share my opinion on what I think that this DLC does and why they implemented it. First off is the hardcore mode. It was not the case that the base game was easy by any means. Kingdom Come Deliverance can be pretty tough. What could easily happen is you start off, you cannot really save because of the super crappy saving system in this game. You go into the forest, run into bandits, like a bunch of bandits. They instantly kill you because you're absolutely trash at everything you do at the start of the game, and then you lost 40 minutes of gameplay. People super annoyed. What happens? They add a hardcore mode, and everybody's like, why? Why would they need a hardcore mode? However, if you are persistent in playing this game and you actually, become better at your abilities and become better at the things that you want to do, such as swordplay, horse riding, whatever, after let's say level 8 or so, the game becomes relatively easy. After level 12 or something, it actually became quite easy. I could almost instantly one-shot everyone that I met. I was becoming so good at the bow and arrow, my stats were so high that the whole game lost sort of its challenge and you would only play for the storyline. I expect the developers to tackle the issue where in the late game you can basically just cut through your enemies or shoot your arrows, one-shot everybody without being challenged at all. I'm hoping for an implementation in the spirit of, let's say, Requiem, if we're talking about Skyrim mods. I think Requiem was an excellent example on how you could increase the difficulty, keep the immersion, and give the players a feeling of reward whenever you complete a quest or maybe even the main game. It would be pretty terrible if they introduced something like the legendary difficulty setting in Skyrim. It is a completely retarded way of increasing the difficulty by decreasing the damage you do and increasing the damage other people do. It makes no sense whatsoever, so I think it's up to the developers to make this happen. Warhorse has definitely proven in the past that they are more than capable to prove a difficult and immersive experience. I think the challenge now is mainly to have it last throughout your entire game. The second free DLC is Tournament. It's to be expected around winter time, just before the end of the year 2018, and I think there are multiple options of what this tournament mode could be. First of all, which is maybe the most, let's say, logical thing that could happen, is there will be a tournament mode inside the actual game. So a PvE tournament mode where you can win prizes, maybe a little bit like the tournaments that are already out there with archery and that kind of thing. However, it would be much more interesting if they would make a PvP online tournament mode, right? Like a PvP online tournament mode so you can compete against other players playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. Maybe battle it out in the arena. I would love to participate in jousting, for example. Just charging my horse towards another player, driving my lance through their armor. A little bit like in Game of Thrones, maybe, you know, some bloody decapitations as well. It would be hilarious, I think. I have no idea how they would implement it, but if that is what's coming, let's say towards the end of this year, I think we have something really fun to look forward to. Worst case scenario, they're making a Battle Royale tournament, just like everyone else is. That would be completely immersion breaking. On the other hand, it could be kind of funny as well, finding random weapons and then bashing each other's skull in with whatever you find. However they do it, I think as long as there's online multiplayer involved, this could actually be pretty fun. Modding support. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important I think it is that modding support is to be implemented in this game. I think this game is a prime example of a game that with modding support can reach the same amount of enthusiasm and the same amount of mods and the same amount of greatness that Skyrim actually already has. So there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is they put modding support on the roadmap, which means that at the very least they're thinking about it. The bad news is it's all the way down to the end. It's probably not gonna be there within a year or so, which means that we will not be enjoying good mods within a year or so, apart from the ones that are currently there. But you can definitely tell that the mods that are currently out there, which is only like 450 mods or so, are somewhat limited into what they offer. The reason for that is that there is no decent mod support to empower mod authors to actually make the stuff that they enjoy. Now you could ask yourself, why would they not implement mod support sooner? And I think it has to do with the fact that they first want to release their own downloadable content. I think it could be a business decision to say, well guys, we're not gonna allow the mod community to come up with all kinds of great stuff before we have actually made some money from our own DLCs. Think about it what you like, but at least it makes sense to me, that is. So what seems to happen if you look at this roadmap is that first they're going to release their downloadable content, make money off of it, provide good content, and afterwards increase the longevity of the game by in the end providing us with the mod support tools so we can build our own mods. I can review all the nice mods that other people will build, and we can enjoy this game for many more years to come. So that to me makes sense. It does however mean that we'll have to wait for roughly another year before we can enjoy more intricate and complicated mods. So last but not least, let's talk about the actual paid DLCs, or what I suppose are the paid DLCs. So there are 4. The first is From the Ashes. More information about this DLC will be revealed on the E3, which is probably set like 2 weeks or so from now. Maybe I will make another video on it when the time comes. For now though, it is set to release by the end of the summer. My guess is that this DLC is about rebuilding Skalitz. It makes the most sense. I mean, it was the original town, the hometown of Henry that got burned in basically the first couple of hours of the game. And to me, it sounds logical that a player would return there to his hometown in order to restore it to its former glory. There was a castle and everything. You might even get a sort of base building mode, like the settlement mode maybe from Fallout 4. The second one is the amorous adventures of Hans Capon. And our buddy Hans is apparently quite the womanizer, and you can sort of see why. I can also see what kind of women would be actually attracted to this guy. So my assumption would be that this is a far less serious DLC, probably just a more comical kind of DLC where you go on some really stupid adventures. I did really enjoy my time traveling with Hans in the main game, so I expect this to be more of the same sort of stupidity from this nobleman, with I suppose some women involved, so probably good. The first DLC is going to hit around Christmas this year. It's called Band of Bastards, and Band of Bastards I would assume can have two options. First, the Band of Bastards is actually a bunch of bandits or a bunch of enemies roaming the country, and maybe Henry takes up arms against them, has to defeat them. That would be a pretty standard way of putting it, but that could definitely be possible. Another option, which could be much more interesting, is actually Henry being a bastard himself, creating a band with which you have the option to either like pillage the lands or maybe do some good. The fourth DLC is maybe the one I'm looking most forward to without knowing really anything about them. It's called A Woman's Lot, and I think it's interesting because the original idea of the developers of Warhorse was to make this game with a female protagonist. They dropped that idea later, I'm not entirely sure why. The female protagonist became Henry, the standard male protagonist. Well, standard, gender-wise standard. He's far from standard, I would say. But I don't think the developers have entirely abandoned the idea of a female protagonist. So I would expect this story either to resolve heavily around women. However, I think it's even more likely that you would be playing as a woman. That Henry is not your protagonist in this DLC, but some woman like the protagonist that the devs originally intended. And that seems to me like a nice pace of change. Guys, I would really like to know what you think and what you make out of all of this. There's almost no information available, at least I wasn't able to find very much as of this current date. And I'm really curious to what you think, so just let me know in the comments down below. I also really enjoyed making this video. I've been mainly talking to a webcam today and editing, and I think the result is going to be pretty decent thanks to my new webcam, the setup as you can see for yourself with the microphone arm and everything installed. This is me trying to take a step into, let's say, a more professional way almost of making movies, still with the same idea in mind that I just want to have fun making movies. So let me know also what you think about the video. If you like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. I'm gonna put out a lot of more content like this. Reviews, just commentary, maybe the occasional vlog as you sort of see now. Definitely a little bit of a change of what I used to do, but I think the quality is improving, and I would like to grow the channel and share my content with more and more people. So a subscribe goes a long way. That's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I wish you a very enjoyable time, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.